up on the T side. So here we go. Couple of guys with some utility. Smokes, flashbangs out. Nothing too surprising on either side by the looks of things.
Just a quick smoke onto C, a little flash over mid, and they're going to try and storm out and just take the fights in mid. And that's two quick entries there for Big and mid control into the B split, it's looking like.
Well, here we go on toward the B bomb site. Jax has quite a bit of work to do. He's got the rotations coming across, but 5 versus 1 at the moment for him. In the meanwhile, Kenny S is going to go down as well, and it's just lucky left alive. This has been a textbook pistol round out from Big. No real problems at all for them as they make their way into the B bomb site. Bomb's going to go down, and for Lucky, I guess best case scenario, he can save the flashes, he can save the defuse kit, and hopefully do something with the next round, because there's no chance for him this one.
It's a very simple pistol round. God B hasn't even had to use his flashes. The entries are just so clean. Smoke on towards the Z, flash over the top of the mid garage, and they just storm out. 2 of those Glock fights going so easy, and from there it was just like a snowball. They had all of mid control. They crunched down into the B bomb site. Not a single player was killed on Big. 5 alive, and I mean, dream start. Easy pistol. Deagles and P250s being purchased up here for G2, which indicates that they may potentially be going for another save after this one. I would have to say so. Everyone's bought a smoke as well.
Oh, what have we got here? What are they going to do for us?
It's pretty interesting, actually. Like, you wouldn't expect 5 smokes on a map like Cash, and that's kind of why. Xantara just storms out mid and Broop shocks head off, and now they've lost mid control, and it's great that you can smoke the choke points in the bomb sites and everything, but with no mid control, especially on a map like Cash, you know, it's going to be quite difficult to get anything done. As I say that though, Kenny.
Yeah, he's been pretty good tonight. Just a quick update for everyone. Obviously, you saw the map win for G2. That's not the case. Big actually have the map advantage going into this. Has been reflected properly now on the HUD. In the meanwhile, Tabson gets rid of Kenny S, so that one shining light maybe for G2 now out of the picture. 3 players left alive, but no real problems here for Big. They've got control of mid, working their way in toward the A bomb site. Only the 1 player there, and Lucky, he might get 1 here, but past that, I would be surprised to see much more. Rotation still hasn't come from G2 either, so big problem for them in this round, and it's all on Lucky once again.
The dink onto next.
Well, this is definitely still a winnable round for G2. Very low HP players, but Lucky, 1 headshot is all he needs to get rid of Tabson, and Gob, well, a stray breath of wind will knock him over. No defuse kit available right now for G2, but maybe one on the site. Smoke's going to go down for main. This will give Lucky some room to play with, but in the meanwhile, he does lose his teammate. So Gob didn't even go down either, as the shot does just miss. Big scrape away the second round, but not quite as cleanly as they managed to pick up the pistol.
Yeah, the damage was great there. Almost could have had 4 dead there for Big, which is going to be a lot of reinvestments here. G2 doing fantastic work with those Deagles, and I mean, the problem with investing in those kind of upgraded pistols at this point is the fact that they're going to have to take a secondary eco. 5 nades across the board. Interesting to see what they're going to do with those. Tapson, I think that's a smoke for Highway if I'm not incorrect. Yep, so quick smoke in towards Highway. Doesn't quite land, unfortunately. Be interesting to see what G2 is going to go for in the next, whether they're going to buy up those Orgs. Last time they double saved on Dust 2, they went 4 Orgs and an AWP.
Yeah, well, definitely expecting to see something similar here on Cash. A few Orgs at least out for them. Obviously this round not going to be quite as comfortable. Xantara's doing a pretty reasonable job so far. A couple of opening frags for him. Big will work their way into the A bomb site. Facing not too much resistance. That said though, Body is able to headshot onto 1, and if someone doesn't cover that bomb carrier, there could be problems. Looks like they're going to be okay though. Jax keeping it interesting by finding 1, and still a fair bit of damage actually being done by G2 in these ecos. Tabson now finds himself alone as Body and Jax get a kill apiece. He has to scurry his way back up to the A bomb site for fear of the bomb being defused. Luckily for him, there's no smoke and no defuse kits for G2 to really play around with, and the bomb quite nicely planted for him. Whiffing him a little bit there, but does get the job done in the end, calibrating the aim, and does clutch the round away for Big. A little bit too close for comfort, though, I think, for the T side.
Oh, definitely. I mean, 3 dead in the round previous to that one, and then in that one, only Tabson surviving. That's a lot of money out of the bank accounts of Big. I mean, they're stringing some bomb plants together. They're stringing the rounds together, but in terms of what they've put away for the future, not great things can be said, unfortunately.
So 2 Augs, 1 AWP. No real surprises out for G2. Nice grenade onto Xantares as well.
If there's anyone you want to be knocking down into
100%
low HP.
Look at him at 231 ADR. I mean, it's only 3 rounds in, right? But that's still pretty impressive. And it'll continue.
He gets his ADR no matter what. I mean, I was looking at one of his series before. He did 120 ADR over 3 maps.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Inhuman.
Normally, like 80 or 90 ADR is pretty good.
Yep, 100%. Across 3 maps as well. Consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
G2, they're playing quite passively here after losing the first pick. They really need to make a move here in the mid-round because they've already lost a man. Now they've lost the mid-control. They need to take some kind of a risk. They need to hedge one of their bets. So far, they got Kenny creeping his way into A main. He's got some info with the AWP there. But they're going to need some better than that, unfortunately, because right now they don't have a whole lot going for them except for that A main control and Big. They've got numbers. They've got a fair bit of territory.
Shox is making that move right now, and it looks like he's going to be able to catch Tizian off guard, which he will. Brings it back to a 4v4. Kenny has a bit of a superstar in that match against 3D Max, but has been spotted on the cross there by Xantares. Shox won't get away with it a second time. Shut down. Big start to make their move into the A-bomb site. This is looking worse for wear for G2. Smokes go down. Bomb site is in control of Big, and G2 just have to back away. For a moment, it looked like Shox might be able to make the difference, but unfortunately, it was all for naught.
Love that from Xantares. Doesn't overpeak. He just smokes him off and secures it. Gets the ADR, but doesn't have to hunt for it. So there's another round for Big. This time, a little bit more of a convincing one thus far.
Damson definitely going for the hunt.
For sure.
It's the incendiary into the box behind Checkers, but doesn't realise that Jax is just playing under vent. So it looks like the guns should go through here for G2, which is a small saving grace, but down 4-0 to start things off here in the best of 5 grand final with a map disadvantage as well. This is probably not how they saw their campaign starting off in an ideal world.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, this is not their strongest map, and I feel like this is going to be coming one way or another. So Big off to the Dream Star, but it is T-side cash. Let's keep that in mind. It's fairly early on in the piece as well.
Not a bad buy coming through for G2 Esports as a result of saving the 2 guns. Shock's the only one with, I mean, I guess not a rifle. I wanted to say subpar weapon, but I guess you can get the job done.
I mean, Shox is pretty impressive with that MP9.
Exactly.
I remember one tournament a while ago where he pretty much just bought that gun every single round and farmed money for Kenny's AWP.
That's definitely something that G2 are going to be hoping for in the next couple of rounds, because they desperately do need a bit of money. Body forced out of his position from the utility of Big. Still hiding behind the smoke. The flash is good. Xantares, though, will find him. He has definitely not skipped a beat at all, this guy, so far since starting 9-3 at the moment. 230 ADR for him. Absolutely leading from the front right now for Big and opening up the B site. Jax will offer no resistance at all. Utility goes in, locks away G2, and that'll be, again, another easy round straight up for Big. G2 going for the save, and they're starting to put themselves in that really depressing kind of a spiral where you save a couple of guns every round, but you're never actually winning a round. Yeah. You always think, we have a chance, but you just can't get that really important round on the board.
It really feels like Big's so on top of everything, like in terms of just minimizing the risk and the way that they use utility to be able to take territory. Like it seems like they've effortlessly taken mid-control so often in this game thus far, and we've barely even seen 1/3 of their T side, you know?
Oh dear, Xantares is just on an absolute rampage right now. Gets another couple, will eventually fall to Shox, but really it's more impactful for Big to get that gun out of the hands than it is for Shox to find a couple of kills with that MP9, albeit the fact that he does get a little bit of extra cash off it. But Xantares, enough money to buy into that AK. 11-3 now. I mean, Tizian hasn't even managed to get himself off the scoreboard, off the donut, but it doesn't matter. Big is at 0-5 in the lead.
I mean, I've seen plenty of big games where the frag count is relatively low and they're in the lead. Like, the other team might have even double their kills and half their rounds. Like, Big just gets those impact frags. Regardless, though, I mean, G2, their loss bonus is built up. They're going for the pistols and the smokes once again.
How long? Oh, you go.
It's like I said before, I mean, it feels like Big's... Look at they're just taking mid control so seamlessly once again.
It is against pistols, though, in this round, so G2 don't really want to offer too much resistance. A few smokes for them to maybe slow Big down a little bit. But realistically, we're looking for some big shots out from some of these players. Xantara's covering off Shox' position right now. It's got B checks up highway. Spot Kenny S. Shox just waiting for his moment. Dangerous position right now for Xantaras to be in.
Feels like he's got so much confidence in the fact that his teammates have every single possible position where a CT could be peeking from, rather.
Yep.
And in general, it feels like Big's doing a really good job using their utility to push and pull where G2 can and can't be. Regardless, they had the mid control, they went for a prod, and G2 really didn't bite. That's a very well-timed smoke on the A main, and if one of the CTs manages to wiggle himself close to that smoke, there could potentially be trouble for Big.
Yeah, that said, the rotation has gone over to the B-bomb site for G2, so it's only lucky on the site. Or for the fact that it's a good smoke, I'm not sure how much they're going to get out of it. Rotation is starting to come back, but it may be too little too late as we see the first entry already here. I don't think quad box has been checked. Time is running out. There's 5 seconds on the clock, and no one's planning the bomb. The round's going to go the way of G2, and that has been all sorts of a kerfuffle, really, for Big. I'm not sure what happened there.
And look at how close these rounds have been getting. Look at the money on Big. They're up 5. They're up 5-0. They've lost to pistols, right? God B can drop an AK. Tizians and Nex are going to have very, very little utility if they even want to buy into this one. Someone's going to go without a primary weapon and is going to have very little utility in general across the board for Big. Feels like they were in total domination in this game and they just make pretty massive blunder. They take far too long, assuming that G2 is going to overpeak in middle once they start prodding middle with Xantaras and they take the mid control or whatever. They really expected the extremities to be pushed by some of these G2 players with pistols. They really expected, you know, some people to overpeak in middle and offer up some resistance for Big to exploit. But G2, I mean, you really got to give it to them. It's pretty unconventional to just buy pistols and smokes on a map like Cash and just hold your smokes until the late round. It's something you really don't see too often.
Yeah, well, Big, let's see if they can respond straight away. They've had quite a lead already, and that round was a little bit of a soft loss for them, I think. So far, I'm not giving too much credit just yet to G2. Kenny S close on the angle, won't be punished for it, backing away, but sort of caught out in no man's land, needs to hit some shots and cannot. What a great shot from God B as well. As the smokes do come down, locking G2 out of the site. Much better response from Big, much quicker. Going to get that bomb down early. Not too much utility in the late round though for Big here, and a lot for G2.
Next has got his hands on an AWP now. Post plant is going to come out here. Fair bit of utility for G2 to be able to flush some of these big players out of position, but they need to start moving a little quicker.
Next has got a really, really nice angle here. The Molotov not going to push him out too much, but the smoke certainly will. G2 starting to make their move. To say that, they slow down just a little bit. They do manage to find that first pick. Next here, however, is going to be such a big linchpin and will go down. A good trade from Tabson. Time's running out for G2. They just won't be able to get enough done, even if this kill goes the way of Jax. The round is going to go the way of Big, and that is huge for the T side. It's going to be enough to reset the economy for G2. Money is a little bit weird. They might be able to force a buy through, but at least...
I think this is going to be one of those classic, both teams are going to do a real scuffed buy.
Better than losing it, right, for Big? They will get full AKs and armor through, with the exception of, oh, actually not even. Nex and Xantaras are missing quite a bit of money there, so not even close to full AKs and armor. Who's got the better buy here? That's the real question. Kenny S has got an AWP. A couple of AKs there for Big, but a couple of rifles for G2. It's a bit up in the air. Tell you what, definitely looks like Big now because they've got 5 guns versus 4.
Jack's looking to even that up, and he does fine. How is that possible? Can I just point out that Xantaras has a Mac 10, and he's at Sunroom at the Toxic Barrel. As soon as he sees Jax, he's dinked him immediately.
Easy peasy.
It's just so ridiculous.
You don't get 250 ADR just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah. Use that MAC-10 to get some dinks in. This guy's not human, I swear to God. Anyway, I mean, I really loved that last round for Big. If I was going to give a lackluster buy to any team and I want to see them do a cool execute with them to be able to give themselves a high percentage chance of winning the round, it's almost always going to be Big. They always come up with a creative solution to be able to take a round out. Now, first pick has gone their way thanks to Xantares' handiwork with the MAC-10.
Yeah, got to point out, Lucky's got no armor here as well with a UMP, so I'm not sure he's going to be having too much fun in this round if a firefight does ensue. Kenny S being tagged up. Xantares just takes his head off with the MAC-10. And he's at 181 ADR, no longer 250, so that's a little unfortunate, but still, 181. I'll pay that, it's pretty good. Bomb down on the A-bomb site here for Big, and Tamsin on the hunt. Finds Lucky, or rather Lucky finds him, and maybe lucky that he's able to get that first bit of damage in. It gives him a chance of winning that aim duel. As soon as he gets hit by a bullet, though, the aim punch is absolutely going to ruin him. Look like it's going to be a save, though, for G2.
Xantares once again on the hunt. He's clearly been practicing his long-range MAC-10 tapping in deathmatch. Unbelievably deadly.
Whoa. Oh, he got another one.
How does he keep hitting it? Every time he's just hitting them in the head. His MAC-10 looks like my M4.
I think it looks better than
than my M4. Yeah. He actually gets kills.
Yeah.
And they get him $600. Unbelievable.
7-1 right now for Big, and G2 in dire straits, really. You were correct, at least from what we've seen so far on the call, that this was looking like a good map for Big.
Yeah, look.
I mean, it's really a one-man show right now, isn't it? Xantares is just popping off.
Oh, it's the system around him as well. Everyone else is doing their job. They're getting it done.
Yeah, that's true.
But in general, I mean, that was a really, really important round for either team. And Big coming away with it just puts them even further in the lead. Like, G2 really needs that round to give them a break. Like, Big's already winning this game pretty handily. It really looks like they're much more well-versed in this map than G2 is. And the fact that they're winning all those important rounds, you know, just really puts them even further over the top than they already were.
Yeah, Xantares is back over that 200 ADR mark, and he might just get another free kill here as Jax is walking right into him. Body close by. I wonder if Xantares is aware. Certainly is. Not able to land the headshot that he wanted, and he's being wrapped upon by multiple players. This is going to give the opportunity for Big to get into the B bomb site. But G2 do have the player advantage, and Big messing around a little bit with these utilities does give the opportunity for that quick rotation across from G2. Big. This could be another round that might actually fall by the wayside for them, despite a decent enough start.
Bomb still hasn't been planted for Big here. It will be planted for Checkers. Going to have Tapson being the point man on the site. Next is going to punish the flank, so that's one less armor this push for G2, and the 3v3 comes in.
Important couple of frags there for Big, does give them the advantage, and now G2 pushing in with no armor. Probably not the ideal scenario. Taking the AK and the M4 through might be what they want to do. Big will scrape away another round. That one maybe a little bit more up in the air than the last few, but only because G2 were able to 4v1 Xantares.
In general, Big's round wins have been so close and so scrappy. They're losing so many frags to these pistols.
Yeah.
Feels like on this T side, they have never been able to build up a bank whatsoever, but they just keep coming away with the rounds anyway. Like, even now, they're up 8-1. They've only just got like 6k in the bank. They're going to buy up, maybe drop over a few guns. Some people will still be pretty broke at this point. Like,
end of the day, I don't think it matters how much money you've got if you never lose a round.
Exactly.
No,
I mean, we've seen Xantares, isn't it? He needs how much is a MAC-10? Like 1050 and then armor. Maybe not even armor. He needs 2k in the bank. He can make it work.
Big stacking toward middle right now for G2, or not even in toward middle, just sort of towards CT spawn. As they figure out where they're going next, just obliterates Shocks. Not much you're going to be able to do about that one. Mid control, well and truly in the favor of Big. For now, challenged a little bit by G2. Xantares is able to do a little bit more damage, but does go down. Back into the 4v4.
Smoke onto top highway from Tapson. They're really trying to make sure they hold on to this mid control and punish G2 if they're going to go a little bit more aggressive. Jax is pushed up in this B main area. I hear all of this, so they're going to be able to stack towards this A bomb site. This push up highway from Tapson, though, towards the tail end of that smoke may bear fruit.
Well, there's also a push from Jax into Warehouse, and that is exactly where the bomb is hanging around. It could be another dangerous round here for Big if they don't figure things out quickly. Jax doing so much damage. Scott goes down. That's the bomb found out. Tabson hasn't located him. And this round has fallen apart for Big. What a weird one that was.
I was about to say, like, I couldn't really get a word in before all of it happened, but I was like, they're taking a save, so this is a more dangerous round for Big than a full buy, because thus far they have just been getting obliterated by the pistols, and again, they lose so many players, and lose a round, in fact, to those pistols. Like, it's going to be the buy-up for Big, but not the most fantastic one, and if they lose here, they're going to be broke, and it really just feels like, you know, they're completely in the driver's seat of this game, but they're making it as easy for G2 to come back as possible.
Well, that's a nice start for Big. This is the round that you really want to fight back in. Xantara's down low. It's just slowed down a little bit in the last couple of rounds. That might be why G2 is finding it a little bit easier to get some rounds. I say that. Maybe he's heard me as he gets the headshot.
That's how he gets his ADR.
Yeah.
Through the roller door.
Well, player advantage for Big, but Xantara's the man who's really been doing the heavy lifting. May not play as much of a part in this round due to his HP.
So once again, the man disadvantage for G2. Have to see what the play is going to be for them. Obviously, Jax is the linchpin in all of this. A key part in the last round was that information gathering. Flash goes above the vent. He uses it perfectly to pick up Xantara's, but that was the weakest player on this big lineup, and they're going to start to head towards this A bomb site. Only Lucky here, but he does have a fair bit of utility to be able to stall and buy time for his team's rotations to come in. Kenny's got one flashbang to lend him some support, but that's going to be it.
There's some incendiary there for Lucky. Could be very problematic if he gets that down, and Big have had real struggles late in the rounds. When they do enter the bomb site, the bomb plant has really not been too enjoyable for them. I think this is still looking like dangerous territory. Great timing on the incendiary from Lucky, but is it going to play a part in this round? As Next pushes on forward, Lucky traded out, nicely done. Good trade from Kenny S. In fact, it's 9 seconds on the clock. Getting this bomb down is going to be problematic, if impossible. As Tamsin, well, he'll get the pick, but won't get the round. And again, Big have played themselves.
Have indeed. They've just run out of time. Once again on that A bomb site, Tabson's money's absolutely cooked. They're probably going to have to force around the AWP here, but they're going to take a pause to have a chat about it beforehand. And I mean, look, their money's just in the bin, and it's all throughout fault of their own, unfortunately. They're really finding it difficult to sort of adjust to how G2's playing with those pistols. Every time G2's on the pistols, they seem to have so much trouble dealing with it. Those delayed smokes caught them out once or twice. Jax made a big play pushing into B main and getting a lot of info in one of the other rounds.
Yeah, a very strange match from Big. It just feels like they should be more on top than what they are.
Yeah.
But the first half still has quite a bit of a story yet to tell. Obviously still 4 rounds here. Could really go either way at this point. I mean, we're in a position where G2 looks like they may be able to bring it back to an 8-7. The force doesn't actually come around the AWP. Tabson will try and make something happen on his own.
What's happened here? They've had a big chat, then they haven't bought, and then they've bought after that, but Next hasn't bought, and he's run out of time to do so. I'm confusion.
I think Big's a little confusion right now as well. But maybe Tabson can make something interesting happen here. Or maybe it'll be Xantara's. Should never have doubted him.
I mean, both of them are one-shot kill guns, if you think about it.
Yes, indeed. So it's back to 4v4 as God B will also drop. Xantara's does have that M4 in his hands now, though, so a little bit more deadly. Maybe a little bit less lucky. With the scope, a little too strong. That angle not going to be too easy for Xantara's to deal with. So the players of Big trying to make the individual plays, and it's just not quite working out in this round.
Tabson hasn't been able to find anything with the AWP thus far. Next in a pretty decent position, but for his position to truly be effective, one of these players in A main is going to have to make that pick.
Oh, Lucky hasn't seen him. Tizian is able to get close up and does get the pick, but traded out by Kenny S. Tabson, you're not going to win that aim duel. Not against Kenny S. Not like that. And it's all on to Nex in the 1v2 with 15 seconds. If he does find Kenny S here, he can plant the bomb. It's all about that timing, though. Needs to push on forward, and Kenny knows it. Backs away, gets a great shot. Still having a pretty good game. 10 and 8 for him. That'll be another round up for G2. Starting to see some moments for G2. And Big in a weird economic situation now with Nex having a bit of cash. The rest, not a whole lot.
Look, this could have been like a 13-2 half, or a 12-3 half, and it feels like Big has thrown this one firmly in the bin. They've mismanaged their money pretty badly in terms of their anti-ecoing. They, you know, lost either a lot of players or just directly lost rounds to the pistols from G2. And what felt like a game they were very dominant in, G2 now has money in and seems to be coming back.
Well, Kenny S just scoping down the line, cleans up one. Backed up well by Jax. But it's all the Kenny S show right now. Eventually he'll be dropped by Nex. That's a nice shot. Let's see if he's got a couple more in here. Body unlucky. It's going to be too much to deal with. 5 up for G2. Bit of economic damage done there by Big, but nothing really too exciting as G2 still have a bit of cash to play with. Finally a buy though for Big. The question is this going to be backed on the Big train, back to a 10-5 half, or does G2 come straight back into it, makes it 8-7, and then it's anyone's game really headed into the second half?
Oh no, sorry. The org sometimes fools me, but double org and triple org coming up. But Xantaras, doesn't matter what weapon. What? This guy's on fire today. The mechanics are just impeccable.
I don't even know what to say.
Look at this specimen.
He certainly is something. Just clean, couple of entries straight into mid. That's exactly what Big needed. But Lucky with the secondary AWP might have something else to say about it. Not too much though, as he's silenced by Gob. Gob's doing a little bit of work here for G2, but I don't know if it is going to be enough. Bomb's going down on B. 2v3 post plant here for Big. The advantage in their favor, of course. Xantaras has an idea that there's player in vent. The wrap coming around the back right now from Tabs, and this will be too much for Jax. Even though Kenny S does get Gob B, it's a small moment of hope. So he's going to need to come up absolutely insane in this round to win it. Doesn't have a kit either, so not a lot of time to work with. And we'll just back away, I think, at this point. Tough pill to swallow. Oh, that's even tougher.
That was Tabs in that time. Through the roller door. Almost takes out Kenny. There's the round on the board for Big. Those entries in mid from Xantaras, just absolutely godly. Last round coming in here, and G2 really don't have too much money to work with. I mean, Kenny's got an AWP, so that's the only talking point, really. Oh, sorry, my bad. They have pistols, so this should be a pretty easy round
should
for
be
G2.
9-6, right?
Yep.
Tap pause out from Big. Interesting. Last round of the half.
I mean, 10-5 and 9-6.
Double digits. Big deal, mate.
I guess so.
It's like when you're 9 years old, as soon as you turn 10, you feel like you're a big boy.
I can't say that I remember that much, really, but I guess so.
Alright, yeah, okay. G2 actually don't have that many pistols. Got a few rifles.
That's a misplay.
Yeah, well, you might say so. Quick control of middle here for G2. Quite a lot of pressure being put in there by them. 3 players. But Big wanting nothing to do with it. Slow and steady in this round for Big.
It's a huge emphasis being put on mid, and I think Big, they're smart enough to recognize that. Going to start to put some more pressure onto the extremities. Unfortunately, Kenny being the man in question on this one in particular, takes down Xantaras and gets away with it as well. Gets so much info, saw so many of the big players there.
Such a big pick. Xantaras has been pretty much the difference, really, for Big, and when he's not fragging, it seems like G2's winning rounds. Let's see what the rest of them can actually do here. Body in trouble. The floor is lava.
He was going to get away.
He didn't.
From 3 Molotovs. So, oh my god, look where Lucky is. He's just chilling.
A lot of info. Big gonna rotate back by the looks of things.
I mean, the A side of the map was always the weakest part of this whole defense from G2.
Mid might be the go. Tizian's gun showing. Shox needs to be very careful here, but he has the chance to make this round his own. With that FAMAS, Tizian has not checked it. Godby's got no idea. They've all got no idea. The bomb's going to go down here. Everyone's going to go down. That'll be the round for G2, surely. With 15 seconds, there's no way Tabson and Nex are going to be able to do anything here. No one checking vent properly. And Nex gets the kill on the player on the side, but it does not matter. At the end of the day, it's going to be 6 up for G2.
That's great work from Shox in the vent. Really cements that one. But I feel like Kenny getting that peek on B main and getting so much info really gives the room for Lucky to push on the other side of the map. And let's be real, he was playing solo from the forklift with a deagle and armor, and he just pushes through door because of how much info Kenny was able to get after getting that pick in the checkup. How the hell have G2 managed to get this many rounds back into the half? Like, Big really threw this one away, and I mean, that's coming from Big #1 fanboy myself. Like,
yeah.
You can't be losing that many guns to pistols, and you can't be throwing that kind of a dominant half. You're up 8-1 at one point.
Yeah, 100%. But that said, I think you can still kind of come out of that half saying that Big did look like the stronger side. They had their moments where they might have messed up a little bit. They may have threw a couple of rounds away, but by and large, if you're putting yourself in positions more often than not to win the rounds, even if you're not winning the rounds, you're still putting yourself in a good position. So I think if we continue that trend through into the second half here, there's always a good chance that Big still close this map out. They do have a pretty sizable advantage, even considering Cache. I think 9-6 you'll be reasonably happy with, I suppose. But it's always the tale of two halves. I say that every time. So we'll see what they can do on the CT side now.
I'm interested to see how G2 go about approaching this T side, because it's usually the stronger side of Cache. And, I feel like Big usually have a pretty good CT side on this map in particular, at least in the older iterations of their lineup. I like the way that they approach holding mid down. I don't know if they have the same roles that they used to, but Tabson holding that A-bomb side is something I used to enjoy watching as well. So we'll see how well versed G2 is on a T side that they might not necessarily have been able to put as much time into perfecting. Flash over the top mid roof for Kenny. And it really is not the same situation as when Big stormed out mid, is it?
No, but Nex has a big job to do here. He's got the backup of Godby as the rest of the rotations do come across from Big, but this is looking okay for G2. It's just timing. Zantares will make the difference though, time and time again. Fighting 2, puts it into a 3v2, spots out Kenny S as well. Doesn't even need to find this frag, just needs to keep him busy. Rotation coming across with the bomb though for G2 as they'll make their way toward A, and Zantares, he is aware of that. He can do no wrong right now, it seems. And Kenny S wants to challenge for the bomb, but this might just be the 4th for Zantares.
Unbelievable. 4K just completely bails out. Big in that round in particular. It looked like G2 were putting themselves in a pretty decent position. They went 1 for 1 in mid. They went for the checkers split, but into B, but they took a little bit too long in checkers, sort of tripping over their own toes, and Zantares came in swiftly on the flank and ended things. So pretty important pistol for Big to be winning. I mean, you don't want to get the T side off to too quick of a roll, especially on a map like Cache, where once the T side gets going, it can feel really hard to stop.
Well, G2 not going to be feeling too pleased right now. P250s for a couple of them, but no utility. It's attack pause round, I like to call these ones, because you can't really do a whole lot. Just use it as time to think about what's coming in the future. What can G2 do once they get the guns in their hands? Tabs in here with just the USP. Spotting the line. Should be able to find at least one head, but won't. The spam does come through. Flashbang out from him to delay G2 just a little bit. Backs off into the site, and he'll get run down by Jax. But of course, Antares is here looking to farm up some more ADR. And we'll do just that, finding a couple. The third there for him as well. Too easy. I think he's spent a lot of money on his gaming chair, and it's coming up with the goods for him.
It's adjusted to the perfect height.
Yep. Got that perfect lean.
Yep.
Are you a lounger?
Negative.
Negative.
Got to get that good posture. Good boy. Got to sit up straight. I'm 10 now.
Apparently, lounging is actually better for your posture, but who knows? Totally beside the point. G2 with their first gun round, and already it hasn't started off as they would like. Big, big grenade damage onto Jack's body. And a little bit onto Kenny S. Puts him down to 92. Tabson holding close with that orb. Does he a lucky? That is too easy of a kill. Here comes the push on through. Tabson coming up absolutely massive. He'll get all four. It's Shocks. The last alive and looking for the ace is Tabson. Surely you've got to give this one to him. That smoke's going to fade very shortly. The flashbang comes through. He wants it, and he is going to get it. It just goes from bad to worse for G2.
I was telling you, Jordan, I love me a bit of Tabson on the A-bomb site cache. So many big plays that this guy... And he's given so much responsibility as well, just playing solo from the forklift at that point in the round, and he just handles it with ease.
I love this kill onto Lucky. It's just like the door opens as he falls over. It's just comedic.
Tabson, he fell on the handle. Fell on the sword.
Yeah. Well, that round was over much quicker than G2 would have liked. Force buy through for them, and this round might be over even quicker. Bomb straight through the smoke and straight into the hands of Tizian. It's looking too easy right now for Big. The switch has been flipped.
100%. I feel like Big, they have a really solid CT side on this map and always have, and G2's T side is going to be a little on the questionable side. Obviously, as far as first round gun rounds go, getting 5K'd by Tabson in the first 30 seconds of the round is probably not ideal. Maybe you want to go for a bit of checkers control or some mid control and go for something a little bit more straightforward. The problem with that being is the fact that now that you've lost that first gun round so cleanly, you haven't really done much damage with the pistols. Big's got money for days. They have all the utility they could ever want and need, and they're going to use it to their advantage. A lot of the mid control that you could possibly do can be countered by all the Molotovs on the boost, extra utility. Xantares taking control of B main with a bit of utility. Oh, Gob's in there. Xantares is just there for the frag. He knows that there's no more T's in that area of the map, so he's going to go back towards the A-bomb side.
Xantares just gets absolutely domed by Shocks, but Tabson jumping up onto Red Crate. No fear at all. Knows that highway and mid are clear. Eventually this push has to come from G2. They've invested a lot of utility, but then again, so too is Big. In fact, Big have actually invested quite a lot more than G2 have. This works out quite nicely in the favor of the T side. Kenny S opening up another frag. Now it's all on to next. We'll have a little bit of backup here from Tizian, and does get one. That's an important frag, but Shocks chiming in with another. 2 versus 3, and Tizian will bring it back to a 2v2. Kenny S just chops his head off. God, pushing on forward. Maybe through the smoke here. That could be his undoing. His body is waiting. Flashbang. Bomb not yet planted. 30 seconds on the clock. Bit of noise being made now by Body. That'll draw the peak from Gob B. Bomb's dropped. Kenny S in the 1v1. Hit a couple of nice shots already in this round. Does hit another one.
He just deletes them. His bullets are magnetic.
Yeah.
Every time you saw Kenny S on one of those CT screens, they were just dead. It's unbelievable. That was a nice little slow play there from G2. It's exactly what you said. That was a huge factor in that round. They were just drawing out all the utility, and by the end of the round, Big didn't really have too much left to work with, and G2, still with 2 sets of utility on all their players. Sure, they'd lost control of B main, and Big knew exactly what was coming, like 3 to 4 players over towards that highway and A main position, but, you know, if you still got 2 sets of util at the end of the round, couple of extra flashbangs to set up your players, and Kenny S is clicking on nothing but heads, I suppose that works too.
Yeah, I mean, not much you can do about it in that case. Those 3 shots that he hit were absolutely fantastic. Kenny S with the AWP, Kenny S with the AK, it doesn't really matter. Even with the pistols we saw against 3D Max, he was having a good day. Maybe the shining light for G2 Esports and coming back here into Cache if they can get Kenny S on a bit of a roll. Still a tough one to come back from, 13-7, 6 rounds the deficit, but it's definitely definitely workable. Tizian burning alive a little bit there. Taking a fair bit of damage out into mid goes G2, and this looks like a clean entry. Jackson body finding one apiece. Big starting to come undone.
Yeah, great utility set out from G2, just segmenting off the fights. Those big players taking so much damage from Molotovs and being forced every which way. And G2 just coming out with the flashbangs, all the key positions being smoked off. The fact that Big chose to fight for that one was really their undoing. If they had just left it alone and tried to go take that A main control, things might have been different. See how they adapt to that particular mid take later on in the half, because now that they've seen that unfold. Round's not done yet, though.
Next is coming up Big. Does he know that there's more players pushing him? Well, if he did, it wouldn't have mattered. The incendiary was forcing him out of position anyway. His flashbangs coming through from Gob. G2 is still headed toward the B bomb site, starting to back away though. A 2v3, certainly a lot better than what it could have been.
I love this from G2. Just leaving Jax. This is what you do with the extra man. Use him for the information. Make sure that you're making the right decision here.
Yeah, Tabson with the AWP isn't going to spot the players coming out from Squeaky. Jax has cleared the B-bomb site. Obviously no chance of a rotation, but he can definitely come through CT spawn. Be a big pain in the butt for Tabson, but time's starting to run out. That's a good shot. Lucky. Has he got the bomb down in time? I think he might have just. Yes, he has. It's the 1v2. Gob spots one out. Gets the kill. Another 1v1 now for Gob. Didn't win the last one against Kenny, but he'll win this one against Lucky. And the bomb defuse, of course, with plenty of time. Big round for Big to win there. Money's not great for G2 either.
Bomb plant. We'll have a look what their money's like. Yeah, still pretty lackluster. That's a huge round for Big to win. That 2v1 right at the end there. What can you really say about that? I really felt like Jax was in premium position in checkers to get the info, but he just took a little bit too long to get it done. And unfortunately, by that point, you know, there wasn't really much G2 could do. They were forced to go towards that A bomb site, and from there, it was pretty much the end of the round, unfortunately.
It's starting to look like the end of the map now for you here with 14-7. Money's really bad for G2. I mean, this might be the tipping point where Big actually finally gets over the line.
Potentially could be. But, you know, thus far, Big have definitely been good at making sure that G2 has every chance to get back into the game if they need to. And then other rounds, they look like they're just in complete dominant mode.
Yeah,
Either Nex or Xantaros just wrecks two people. I mean, even Tabson and with that ace, Gob B's had a clutch. Tizian's had some real nice holds.
It's been a pretty good effort across the board for Big, but the job's not yet done. Looks like they're reading this round relatively well. Bit of info being gathered over toward B, and the vent boost as well. Bit of noise being made in the vent there by Big. Not seeing too much in middle. As G2 creep their way into Sunroom. Flashbangs starting to come out, smoke starting to come out, Molotovs. But some late round utility out for Big will cause a bit of a headache for G2. Next will creep his way into the corner as well. A very nice position, just needs to hold his line. Wait for the push out from G2. The flashbang's coming through. Tabson misses a shot, but Nex is unspotted. He'll get the frag. Tizian as well chiming in. And lots of frags going the way of Big. It's falling apart for G2. Tizian looking for that final kill, but it's going to go the way of Tabson. 2 kills with the AWP. 15-7. And Big on the precipice of going 2-0 up in the best of 5 qualification match for IEM Sydney.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, G2, they've had some pretty good rounds here and there thus far in this cash game, and they've been given some breaks by Big, and even now the scoreline's not close. I don't think any of us expected G2 to come away with this cash map in particular. I felt like this was always going to be a pretty easy Big victory. And for me, the series was really going to start with the next map being Dust 2. Obviously, G2's on the Deagles here, so anything could happen. Could potentially come away with this one, but seeing Big jump off to 15-7. Oh my god, shocks.
That's timing for you. Tabson puts the gun away, and then Pete comes out with the Deagle. A little unfortunate for him. Not the end of the world here for Big just yet. Xantares needs to be very aware of what's going on behind him in middle. As of yet, the push not coming out from body. Someone needs to make something happen here for Big, because this round is looking more and more precarious as the seconds tick on by. A lot of flashbangs for G2 to work with. Xantares, however, will clear out middle, so one less angle that they need to worry about, and now the push into the site can commence. Shox gets rid of Tizian, and that slows things down for Big, but he's being spammed through the boxes. That Eagle's doing some work right now for G2, but so too are the M4s for Big. It looks like they won't do quite enough as the time ticks away. The AWP will be retrieved by God B, but the round goes the way of G2.
So good job putting those pistols to work. Obviously, Shox with a pretty important pick there, or 2 frags in that round to make it work for G2. Pistols once again being Big's kryptonite, unfortunately, thus far in cash. Another decent buy up here from Big. The little pause from Big. Make sure that they're nice and sensible closing this one out. Don't want to get caught off guard by anything in particular. I really feel like the only round on this T side that G2 has really had Big's number thus far was that beautiful mid-take with the Molotovs onto the white box and smoke into Z, where they're able to set up a really nice fight onto the highway guy, and that was only because Big was really trying to fight for that mid-control in that round in particular. Not sure if G2 will get cut that break once again. Wouldn't mind seeing them try to go for that again though.
Well, they're going to have to do it multiple times.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard because it really feels like every time they go very quickly towards a bomb site, they get cleaned up pretty handily.
Well, this looks like it could be very quickly toward a bomb site. Bit of damage out from the grenade, not insignificant. Shock's also down quite low, but here comes the push into A, and it's only Xantares. I say only Xantares. He has been a bit of a hero, hearing a lot of noise. Which way does he look? Does he choose correctly? He does indeed. Lucky goes down, backed up really nicely by Tizian as well to keep him from being flanked. That's fantastic. A great hold from Big. 2 players left alive for G2, and this will be it. Big have managed to finally find enough rounds. It's taken them a while, but G2 eventually are going to fall over. Kenny S, well, he's been pretty good throughout this map so far, but I think a 5v1 is probably a little too much to ask from him. Especially with no utility, especially in the position that he's in. Xantares with a big flick. 3 kills for him.